What if I told you the Ottoman Empire's greatest secrets weren't hidden in palaces or battlefields, but in forgotten rituals? From sword ceremonies that decided the fate of continents to male dancers who vanished into whispers of shame, these are the traditions erased by time. But be warned, some of these rituals didn't just disappear, they were buried. By the end, you'll see why the Ottomans wrote history not just in ink, but in scent, spin, and shadow. When we think of the Ottoman Empire, images of grand mosques, sultans in opulent robes, and the rhythmic whirl of dervishes often come to mind. Yet beneath these well-known symbols lies a tapestry of ceremonies and rituals that once pulsed at the heart of Ottoman society, now faded into obscurity. In this video, we delve into the forgotten ceremonies of the Ottoman era. From the sacred girding of the Sword of Osman to the mystical dances of the Mevlevi order. From the fragrant traditions of Bayram to the enigmatic performances of the Kochek dancers. These rituals were not mere formalities. They were the lifeblood of a civilization, echoing its values, beliefs, and artistic expressions. Join us as we resurrect these lost traditions, exploring their origins, significance, and the reasons they vanish from our collective memory. By understanding these ceremonies, we not only honor a rich cultural heritage, but also gain insights into the societal fabric that wove the Ottoman Empire together. 1. The girding of the Sword of Osman, a rite of sovereignty. In the annals of Ottoman history, the ascension of a sultan was marked not by a coronation, but by the sacred ceremony of girding the Sword of Osman. Held at the Eyüp Sultan Mosque, this ritual symbolized the sultan's commitment to uphold justice and lead with honor. The Ottoman coronation wasn't complete until the new sultan girded the Sword of Osman, a 700-year-old blade believed to hold the empire's destiny. But this wasn't just symbolism, it was psychological warfare. The ceremony's origins trace back to Osman I, the empire's founder. Successive sultans embraced this tradition, donning the sword as a testament to their legitimacy and divine right to rule. The event was steeped in symbolism. The sword represented not only military might, but also the sultan's duty to protect and serve his people. Only descendants of Osmanoin could lift the sword without divine punishment. In 1648, Sultan Ibrahim nearly dropped it. Historians later blamed his weak grip for his eventual overthrow. If the sword clanged during the ceremony, it signaled impending doom. In 1708, Selim III's girding echoed so loudly, courtiers later claimed it foretold his assassination. However, as the empire modernized and Western influences permeated its institutions, this ceremony gradually lost its prominence. The last known girding occurred in 1918 for Sultan Mehmed VI, marking the end of a centuries-old tradition. Second Mevlevi Sema, the whirling dance of spiritual ascent. The Mevlevi order, founded by the followers of the poet Rumi, introduced the world to the mesmerizing Sema ceremony, a spiritual dance symbolizing the soul's journey towards divine love. Dervishes, clad in flowing white robes, would spin in harmonious circles, embodying the planets orbiting the sun. This ritual was more than a performance, it was a form of meditation, a physical manifestation of inner purification and unity with the divine. The sema was accompanied by the haunting melodies of the ney reed flute, creating an atmosphere of transcendence. Despite its spiritual significance, the Sema faced suppression during periods of secular reform. Many techies, dervish lodges, were closed and the ceremony was banned. Only in recent decades has there been a revival, with performances now held more as cultural showcases than religious rites. The Mevlevi whirling ceremony was a cosmic rebellion disguised as devotion. Here's why it terrified authorities. dervishes spun counterclockwise to mirror Earth's rotation, a direct challenge to medieval cosmology. A 1613 edict banned public sema, calling it an affront to God's ordered heavens. Each spin's tilt represented a letter in Arabic. Chroniclers found coded messages in dance sequences, including one that read, "The throne is mortal, the soul is not. Would you spin for truth if it meant losing your freedom?" Third, Kochek dancers, the vanished art of male entertainers. Kocheks, male dancers in silk and makeup, were the Ottoman rock stars, but their legacy is a minefield of taboos. In the opulent courts of the Ottoman Empire, entertainment was a blend of music, poetry, and dance. Among the most intriguing performers were the Kochek dancers, young male entertainers who donned elaborate, feminine attire and captivated audiences with their graceful movements. The Kochek tradition, rooted in the empire's diverse cultural tapestry, was both celebrated and controversial. These dances were trained from a young age, mastering intricate choreography and musical instruments. Their performances were a staple at palace festivities, weddings, and public celebrations. Kocheks danced as both men and women wearing layered costumes they'd shed mid-performance. A French traveler in 1581 wrote, "They became neither male nor female, but something other, and the crowd wept." Kocheks were often enslaved Circassian or Georgian boys. Contracts revealed they earned fortunes, but couldn't marry or leave the profession. However, changing societal norms and the rise of conservative values led to the decline of the Kochek tradition. By the late 19th century, these performances had all but disappeared, leaving behind only faint echoes in historical records. When the empire fell, many Kocheks burned their costumes. Today, only one intact Kochek garment exists, hidden in a Vatican vault labeled Satan's Silks. Fourth, Bayram fragrances, the scented celebrations. Bayram, the festive period following Ramadan, was a time of joy, reflection, and sensory delight in the Ottoman Empire. Bayram, Eid, was a sensory assault of spices and smoke. Central to these celebrations was the use of fragrances, amber, rose, and sandalwood, to welcome guests and sanctify spaces. In the imperial court, a unique ritual involved collecting the dust from the cleaning of sacred relics. This dust was mixed with precious scents to create perfume pastilles, which were then distributed to dignitaries and the public during Bayram. These aromatic tokens symbolized purity, blessings, and the continuity of tradition. To mask the smell of slaughter during Kurban Bayram, the palace burned ambergris. But in 1720, a fire caused by rogue amber chunks destroyed 12 shops. The Sultan blamed over-perfumed piety. Wealthy families competed to douse the poor in rosewater. A single Bayram used 4,000 liters, enough to drown a horse. The most coveted scent wasn't floral, it was civet musk, extracted from anal glands of wild cats. Today, while the use of cologne during Bayram persists, the deeper meanings and elaborate preparations of these fragrant rituals have largely been forgotten. Fifth, Daish Kirasa, tokens of gratitude hospitality, was a cornerstone of Ottoman culture, especially during Ramadan. Hosts would invite guests for iftar, the evening meal to break the fast, and in a gesture of appreciation, present them with dish kirasa, literally tooth rent. These gifts ranged from coins to handcrafted items, symbolizing gratitude for the guest's presence. Refusing a dish kirasa gift insulted the guest. In 1694, Vizier Kara Mustafa nearly went bankrupt after a French envoy praised his entire palace. Gold coins called molar gold were minted specifically for tooth rent. Archaeologists found them clenched in skeletons' jaws, a final thank you to death itself. This practice reinforced social bonds and emphasized the virtues of generosity and community. However, as urbanization and modern lifestyles transformed social interactions, The tradition of Dishkirasa faded, surviving only in historical anecdotes. Sixth, Zimam Defteri, anonymous acts of charity. Wealthy patrons paid strangers' debts via Zimam Defteri, ledger books. But this wasn't altruism, it was a spiritual loophole. In the spirit of compassion, affluent individuals in the Ottoman Empire would anonymously pay off the debts of the less fortunate by settling their accounts in the Zimam Defteri, credit ledger of local shops. This act ensured that debtors could continue their lives unburdened, without the shame of public acknowledgement. Believers thought paying others' debts reduced their own sins. A 1627th ledger entry states, "Forgive my adultery, Allah. I've bought 10 butchers' debts." Debtors never knew their benefactors, but shopkeepers did. Bribes ensured certain names were randomly chosen. Some patrons paid criminal debts to recruit thugs. Such anonymous charity exemplified the Islamic principle of giving without seeking recognition. While this practice was widespread during the empire's zenith, it has become a rarity in contemporary times, overshadowed by institutionalized forms of aid. 7. Maulid parades celebrating the Prophet's birth. The birth of Prophet Muhammad was commemorated with grandeur in the Ottoman Empire through Maulid parades. These processions, featuring recitations, sermons, and communal prayers, were attended by the Sultan and high-ranking officials, reflecting the empire's devotion and unity. Maulid ceremonies were not confined to mosques. They extended into streets and homes, fostering a collective spiritual experience. Sultans commissioned Quran verses in caramel. In 1590, a 20-foot sugar Allah melted onto the crowd, triggering a riot. Bakers hid messages in hollow sweets. A 1603 spy note was found inside a baklava. "The vizier's son prefers men. Exploit this." Leftover sugar was burned to create blessed smoke. Asthma deaths spiked every Maulid. Over time, the scale and frequency of these parades diminished, and today they are observed in more subdued forms. Would you risk a sugar avalanche for divine sugar highs? 8. Bektashi ceremonies, the hidden mysticism. The Ottomans had their own Illuminati, and they drank wine at meetings. The Bektashi order, known for its syncretic beliefs and liberal interpretations of Islam, held ceremonies shrouded in secrecy. Their rituals, often conducted in secluded lodges, blended elements of Sufism, Shi'ism, and local traditions, creating a unique spiritual tapestry. The Bektashi order's rituals blurred Islam, Christianity, and paganism. Initiates drank wine from a human skull cup to symbolize equality in death. Men and women whirled together, scandalous in a segregated empire. When caught, they claimed it was prayer with extra steps. Bektashi tombs hold time capsules, sealed letters predicting future sultans' deaths. Most came true. Due to their esoteric nature and the order's emphasis on oral transmission, detailed records of Bektashi ceremonies are scarce. Political pressures and reforms led to the closure of many Bektashi lodges, causing their rituals to fade from public consciousness. These rituals didn't die, they shape-shifted. The Sword of Osman inspired Turkey's presidential oath. Zimam Defteri evolved into anonymous college scholarships, funded by ex-mafia bosses. Kochek DNA lives on in drag shows, where performers still battle stigma. The Ottoman Empire's ceremonies and rituals were more than mere traditions. They were expressions of a civilization's soul. Their disappearance signifies not just the loss of cultural practices, but also a detachment from the values and communal bonds they fostered. By revisiting and understanding these forgotten ceremonies, we can reconnect with a rich heritage and perhaps find inspiration to infuse our modern lives with the depth and meaning they once provided. As the proverb goes, to forget one's ancestors is to be a brook without a source, a tree without a root. Like this video if you trade your credit card for a Zimem Defteri, and subscribe and share your thoughts on these rediscovered traditions. Have you encountered remnants of these practices in modern times? Do they resonate with cultural rituals in your own heritage? Engage with us in the comments below and let's explore the rich tapestry of our shared histories together.